Here we go. And we're excited to be here with this amazing cohort of suppliers. Very nice to meet you all. I am here to talk about the deskless workforce and the current labor unrest that exists. And then I'll talk about the team and our offering and open it up a bit. So in Forbes magazine, just this past week, there was a great article that talked about Chipotle and its business. And one of the biggest concerns that they're having today is labor unrest. And it's an endemic problem, not just for Chipotle, but for many of you in the industry. What is being talked about day in and day out is that the average turnover in these fast casual restaurants is close to 130%. During COVID, it got up to 200%. So imagine that if you have 30 people on staff at one location, you will end up hiring over 39 people this year to replace those and more. That is the reality of what we're living in today. That means that it takes a ton of training. You are constantly training folks to make sure that they are doing the work right. That means that you are constantly trying to think through how to optimize the trainings, how to optimize operations, how to simplify your menus so that you can keep your operations running effectively. Again, my name is Amanda Earhart, and my company PushKin is here in Bentonville, Arkansas. You may hear the trucks going around behind me. We are growing as a town in Northwest Arkansas, and we're also growing this great company where we are obsessed with employee engagement. I come with 20 plus years experience where I have worked on online systems like eBay and Facebook, where I have obsessed over how people interact with each other to help each other grow as individuals, with friends and family, but also with coworkers and everyone in between. My co-founder and CTO, Ryan Meyer, comes with an amazing amount of experience in technical engineering. He's worked at Lockheed Martin. He's literally a rocket scientist. And I am excited to have him on this journey. Serafina, who is our Chief Revenue Officer, has a wealth of experience in innovation in the frontline space as a strategic operator and economic advisor. What we have been researching and working on for this past year and a half is really the underlying causes of this employee unrest. And we know they're complex. And depending on the time of year, whether it was COVID, the couple years after, and today, there's really 4 key challenges that come into this formula. And that is pay. Can I make a living wage at this job? Is the schedule predictable, but is it also flexible? Are there benefits? And what's the culture like? Will I be invested in? And we've talked to many folks in the industry. Just recently, I was talking with Tom Gordon of Slim Chickens, and he was saying, actually, I debate this point today. I think culture actually may be number 2. So it really depends on who you talk to. We feel we are best situated to help partner with franchisors, Z's, and everyone in between on the culture side of the house. Here's a few more stories. So as we continue to do customer discoveries, as we talk with folks in the franchising space, we want to understand what are their core pain points, specifically when it comes to labor and operations. And what we hear time and time again, it's from the top down. I just do not know what my frontline teams know. I have published newsletters, emails, and from the time it gets from my desk to, let's say, my franchisees, to my owner operators, to the general managers, to the area managers, it ends up in text messages and huddles. And I really just don't know what makes it to those frontline teams. And that's true not just in this restaurant industry, but others as well. So we went a little bit further and we started interviewing staff members and managers. And the theme is pretty clear there as well. The frontline teams, they do feel disconnected from their leaders. They're not always sure what the actual goals are for the stores or for themselves, for that matter. And it's not that the managers and leaders are not trying really, really hard. They just have to move really fast, and that coordination takes a ton of effort. And the owner operators are trying with so many solutions today. If you think about your current operations, how many tools do you have deployed day in and day out for different groups within your organization, whether it be the back of house, the front of house, your corporate teams, in order to stay connected? It's complicated. It's hard. So what PushKin has done today is consolidated all of those best parts of those systems and removed the noise. And what PushKin is best suited to help you understand is exactly that. What is it your frontline teams need to know today? And let me kick over to another screen and actually show you a live version of PushKin at Chick-fil-A. And this is a partner, so I have permission to share what their system looks like.
I was about to say, are you going to give me the recipe for the secret sauce? I'll take it.
No, that isn't a playbook that we will talk about at some point here too, though. So this is today's Chick-fil-A in downtown Bentonville, which my daughter actually works at, which also makes this close to home. We want to make sure that the team members feel seen, heard, and informed. So we make sure to set up a special place in their system for celebrations. So if they're celebrating birthdays, they're celebrating promotions and opening and closings and things of that nature. But the key is on the right-hand side, you can see there's memos. It can be anything from just reminders about coffee pots. It can be a quick photo that is taken during an operation and posted into PushKin to say, hey, I need you to change the way we do these things because this is what's brand safe or what have you. And if you can look closely, there's an I acknowledge button. This is your read receipt. So when I click on I acknowledge, it'll close that out and move to the next one. What that does on the back end for an administrator, which isn't seen by the frontline teams, is your actual read receipts. And so as you see here on the right-hand side, you can see your response rates. And for all of these messages, you could click into any single one of these. Let's do the ice bath breading table. You can see that they've selected this was specifically for one of their locations, West Walnut. It was for both back of house and front of house leaders. You can schedule it up if you want. And this is your read receipt. So this has been live for really only about 2 days. So as it matures, you'll get more people that come on shift throughout that week and that these rates will go up. But you can see who has acknowledged it with a thumbs up, and you can see those who have yet to come online and do that activity. What typically happens is that for this team, memos is mandatory. So as you start your shift, before you actually get into the huddle, they ask that you go in, look at your PushKins, you acknowledge and or flag the things that you have questions about. And when you come into the shift huddle, they're still there for the high touch face-to-face interaction, but it's more about for what you've seen and heard in PushKins, do you have any questions? Would you like to discuss it as a team or in a one-on-one? So now those shift huddles have gone from 15 to 30 minutes of a lot of explanations and deep dives and backstory to, do you have any questions? It streamlines that communication. We also have created a home for real-time chat so that you can start collapsing some of those other systems like maybe GroupMe or WhatsApp or even Slack. You can start collapsing these all into one home so that people aren't saying, oh, you know, I didn't see that. Where did you send that to me again? We hear that all the time. I mean, I still do that. And now I'm in PushKin, so it's making it a lot easier for even my team. One use case, and as I switch over, I'll tell you one use case. I was talking with a lady named Tamara of Taco John's, and she was saying just the other day, yeah, gosh, one of my suppliers just let us know that we aren't going to get the typical oil that we're used to. We're going to get a new type of oil for cooking our meat. And because of that, now we're going to have a new 3 or 4 step process for, at the end of the day, cleaning out our oil and our oil vats. So how am I going to get that information from what I know in my email inbox out to the rest of my team? Which means she's got to send it out to about, I believe it's like 10 to 14 stores. And then we have to get it all the way down to the frontline teams. And by the way, we have to do that in T-minus like 2 days. So I can definitely well, what's the what I'm going for? Sympathize. Thank you. I can absolutely sympathize with her. And at that, so Dean, Tiffany, I know y'all have so much experience in this industry, obviously Neil as well, but do these stories resonate with what you've experienced in the industry?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I can, after, however many years in the franchise space, speaking with franchisors and franchisees, it's definitely something that's needed, right? Particularly in the scenario you highlighted with Tam. I think that's, I had a franchisor that got here in Canada that had a case of lettuce that was exposed to E. coli. So they had to go check all the SKU numbers. So they didn't know, because they couldn't recall everything, because there was however many millions of boxes delivered across the country. They had to go by SKU numbers. So they had to quickly send it out to all their locations and say, here's the SKU number, you need to know this, and whatever. But they were using phone calls, text messages, WhatsApp, like whatever they had. There wasn't a central place to be able to do it. So it's very, very valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's the length of time it takes to communicate through a team, it can be very, very lengthy sometimes. So having a means to be able to do that quickly is very, very valuable.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And we're looking to better understand what is it that can be done really easy and simply, because folks just don't have time, right? And that's why bumping into each other at shift huddles tends to be a great way to do it. At the shift close, people take shift notes. How are they disseminating out shift notes and making sure that those are opening the next day, see those shift notes. And so we're really excited for that problem area to really be addressed seamlessly, specifically in this vertical, specifically for your teams and the specific type of work that they're doing every day. So to that end, we also know you need data, right, to make this work. So not only do we give you those read receipts, but we also step back and think about it holistically and say, let's look at your trends. Is one store doing better than another store? Is one management group doing better than another management group? Is back of house better, front of house better? And what can we learn from those teams that are performing well and apply those to others? Because the best way for them to scale and grow is by having the experts that they trust helping coach them. And that's not going to be us. What we can do is at least surface insights. We can surface trends. We can amplify what's going good and we can amplify what's going bad. We're only as good as your people. We're a platform. And that's why what we want to make sure of is we're giving you the visibility and that you're able to use it. And we'll show you how that's going we do bi-weekly posts on analysis right now, analytics, and then we're looking to get more real time. And that's today. What I'm really excited to tell you is with Chick-fil-A, we're in a few Chick-fil-A's here in Bentonville, Arkansas. We run surveys for them on a pretty regular basis to make sure that we as a platform are doing right by the company and getting the actual employee engagement where they want it to be. I'm happy to say that our surveys are showing that we have increased up to 80% now, day-to-day operations, as well as the employee turnover, that even if they're new and even if they're more mature, they're feeling better about the engagements they're having with their management every day. We know that labor cost is a big issue. And so we try to track how effective our communication channels are at saving you time. So how many minutes in a shift huddle have been saved? How many minutes in just reminders? Oh, have you seen this message? Do we save every day? And we think it's at least 1 minute per interaction. And there's been over 4,000 interactions since we've launched about a year ago. And 88% of team members, because this is a big thing, when we talk to potentially new partners, they say, well, I really don't want another system to put into our kitty how many people are actually going to adopt your app? How many are actually going to download it? How many are actually going to use it? Because we've got a few others and we don't get 100% adoption. We are happy to say we're currently at 88%. The stragglers tend to be Spanish speakers. So what we are planning to do in the future is make everything completely seamlessly translated. So imagine yourself in a chat channel. The reason that you don't have Spanish speakers in there is that's not their native first language. You need someone translating it, and that takes time, so they don't do it. So it makes it less relevant for them. We want it to be absolutely relevant. We're going to top that up. We're going to bring everyone along through automation and the new technology that's coming out. So with that, what does the future look like? Like I said, we have a rocket scientist on our team. I'm a total nerd by trade, computer scientist by trade. So what we are really passionate to leverage and bring into this vertical is more ease and simplicity via technology. We're looking at OCR, tech recognition, so we can take photos of schedules and automate publishing those and pushing those onto people's phones. We want to digitize any protocols or pocketbooks, put it in their back pocket. If you allow them to have a phone, or if you allow them to have tablets within their operations, they can seamlessly call up everything digitally. We're also excited about using ChatGPT in day-to-day operations, because you know what your managers tell us? I'm never not working. I work all the way till midnight because that's when the store closes. And if they have a question about closing, guess who gets called? Me. Those folks, you need to not burn out. Therefore, can we get ChatGPT and all this digital information to be their source of basic truth for basic information, so that they can say, okay, I remember we got new oil in. Tamara said there was, I saw a note. I don't want to bother my manager. Hey, PushKin, what's the new three-step process? And it responds on their behalf. And last but not least, a lot of questions about schedules. You don't want no-shows, no excuse no-shows. So how do we make sure they can say, hey, remind me when my shift is, or have PushKin automate some of that for them? Hey, you should be leaving for your shift today. Click here to confirm. So everyone's on the same page. We make things a lot simpler because operations doesn't have to be hard if we have the technology to be more innovative in this space. I'm excited about these things. I hope you are too. Look, we have a basic framework. We have created communication tools we're really excited about, but it's got to be more than just communication. There's so much more we can be doing here. And so on behalf of myself and my team, we want to partner with those who are excited about innovation. We're offering services as well as software. If you're excited to partner up with us, please find us at pushkinapp.com and or through Dean and team. And we're looking forward to answering any questions you may have and seeing what partnerships might make sense. I'll kick it over to you, Dean.
Thank you. I'm going to take back over. You may have to stop your screen share there.
But do I really? Can I just keep it?
Well, you know, we love looking at your pretty face, but eventually you're going to have to say enough.
Enough.
So, enough. All right, let me do this. Let me do this. All right. Well, thank you, Amanda. That was really cool. So a couple questions. So are you guys planning, like obviously this is an app that someone has to have on their phone so that they can read the memos and things like that. Are you getting to the point, obviously somebody at the back of the house, right? If you think of a Chick-fil-A, a cook is going to have that phone on them before they start their shift review. Are there any memos and stuff like that? But are there plans for potential integration into POS systems? Right, whereby you're going to have somebody punches in their employee number, they log in, now they're onto the iPad or whatever they're using. That way they can read the memos immediately that come up for them, so you can immediately know who's read them, who's not.
Yeah, I love that. There's two trains of thought we've bumped into so far. Some folks have told us, don't mess with my POS system. That is the only thing I want done on there is taking customer orders. Right. There's that one train of thought, but they do have other tablets that they have on premise that is typically for clock in or clock out that might be separate from POS, where they do ask us to put PushKin. So you can deploy it today on Android devices through the Play Store, and you can do your 4-digit clock in. So really, what we're hoping to do is not have technology be a barrier to entry. So if there are those that do want us in their POS systems, then we'll work with ADPs or Toast or Square and see how that makes sense as an integration into their day-to-day, for sure.
Yeah, you may want to stay away from Aloha for a little bit. I don't know if you saw that post recently.
No, say more.
So Aloha got hacked, and
Oh, gosh.
they hacked into their network of POS systems across. So there was a bunch of restaurant brands, and a bunch of people were totally hacked, and their stuff was all held ransom. So there was
Ouch.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
it was not good, not good.
Oh, poor things. That's rough.
So another just a comment, I guess, and for yourself, Amanda, I love,
Please.
you know, rightly or wrongly, the way the world is evolving. It's a matter of fast and information, you know, as quickly as you can. So I love the idea of the memo because it's short and sweet and here, right? Even like in Tam's case, she can click a link to an online database of further information about the new oil that they have and whatever. But
That's
here,
right.
you know, the quick and dirty of what you need to know. And I love that because, you know, from the world that I came when, you know, we had a knowledge base in our portfolio, and it was, you know, I'm embarrassed to say it wasn't used very much because people had to search by
That's
keyword
right.
to
That's
find it,
right.
and then they had to read. So by the
That's
time
right.
they needed that information, it wasn't at their fingertips. So I love that you guys have that right there. So across the board, when you look at different brands and different franchises, would you say that this is, you know, more geared towards, you know, restaurant and food and beverage space, or do you envision this potentially in, you know, health and wellness, health and beauty? You know, like where do you see this really having a strong play? I could see it play across everything, but there's going to be obviously a very strong play, like something that Neil offers obviously can go across the board. Even
Right.
what Tiffany offers goes across the board. But for what you're offering in this technology space, can it go across the board?
That's a really great question. Given we're a small, lean team, what we're looking to do is partner with innovators in each of the verticals to assess which ones are more apt to innovate quicker. And those are the ones we'll start with. And to be honest, there's 3 verticals that we're currently tapped into. One is transportation and logistics. It's over the road drivers, it's moving companies like College Hunks, and they like to get the word out to those that don't come to a home office ever. Right. That's really helpful for them with safety messages, things of that nature. We're also quite adept now at the food and beverage industry because things move so fast there all the time and people are shifting in and out. What you're talking about in terms of the more skilled labor verticals where the turnover may not be as intense, where we see value for us in that space is digitizing their operations to make it convenient so their managers get some breathing space to not have to work on the business, or in the business, they can work on the business.
Right.
Because even in the skilled worker trade with less turnover, you've got the managers still never not working.
Right. Excellent. Cool. Well, I love Amanda, at the beginning, I think it was your slide 2 or 3, that you validated this whole employee operations thing that I've been pushing for the last 30, 60 days, because it validated what, you know, frontline employees or hourly wage employees or employees in general are feeling, right? It's pay, but a franchisor, and Tiffany and Neil, obviously you guys can attest to this, coming a little bit from that space. You can't just keep on throwing money at a problem, right? You got to solve that problem first, because money's not going to solve it. You can only go up so far for as far as minimum wage goes, from an hourly perspective. So I love that, you know, I think it was bullet number 3 you said was benefits that they were looking for. So I'm sure Neil was smiling from ear to ear on that. And then in number 2, even more so, was, you know, training, finding the right people. Do they have the right skill set? And you know, do they feel valued? Well, that's investing your time and training your managers in the right way. So I'm sure Tiffany was very happy to see that as well. So I love how this all came together very, very nicely, and how this really revolves around that employee operations. So I want to thank all 3 of you very much for the time, the overview. You guys have excellent, well, you're excellent people, and you have excellent companies, and we really do appreciate you being part of Franchise Supplier Network. And we know that you guys are gonna rock it over the short and long term, and really change how franchising starts looking at employee operations. So thank you very much again. I really do appreciate it, and we'll be talking again soon, I'm sure of it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Great job.
Have a great day.